Hey, welcome back, everybody. Today, I'm going to go ahead and make my protein pumpkin muffins. True confessions, I tried to make this video once already and the audio wouldn't work. So, welcome to my first public fail. um, Wanted to share this recipe. I've been talking about it. I know people are really looking forward to it. It's a really great low-cal recipe with a lot of protein in it, and it's super yummy. I feel like um, baked goods are something that you feel like you kind of have to give up when you start searching to really increase your protein and decrease your carbs. And so I was really excited to come across this recipe and keep something super low calorie, but lots of protein. And it's just a really super yummy recipe. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. The first thing we always want to do is get our oven preheated to 350 degrees. So I've gone ahead and started that. And then I'm just going to start grabbing the ingredients and we'll go ahead and throw those together. Okay. They're quick, easy, and they don't require a lot of special ingredients. So we're going to start with some canned pumpkin. And I'm also going to grab my yogurt, my Greek yogurt, and my eggs out of the fridge. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and grab a mixing bowl as well. Get that out. I went ahead and measured out 1.5 cups of whole flake oats, large flake oats. And I'm just going to let you know that I pre-blended them in the blender. So I have them already pre-blended in the cup. Okay, that just makes it into kind of a little bit of an oat flour. So they're super easy to incorporate into these muffins. And I'll just go ahead and set that there. So 1.5 cups of large flake oats. We are going to also go ahead and grab our baking powder, our vanilla protein powder. We're also going to grab our soda, some vanilla, and then we're also going to grab some raisins. Okay, I like to throw raisins in these. Um, and then the last ingredient that I believe we need, well, the last two, we need some Splenda. This is a cup per cup measures like sugar Splenda. And I'm also going to grab my pumpkin pie spice off of my spice rack here. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to add to our bowl is that 1.5 cups of those blended oats. Okay, just so that they're in the bowl. We're going to probably go ahead and throw most of our dry ingredients in first. Okay, so we have those. I'm going to grab a measuring cup. We're going to grab 1/2 cup of our vanilla protein powder. Put that in there. And again, I'm going to encourage you to kind of clean as you go, put things back so that your area can remain nice and tidy. Going to do our Splenda next. We're going to put 1/2 cup of Splenda in there. And just go ahead and measure that out. 1/2 cup of Splenda. Okay. And then we're going to grab our teaspoon measure. Okay, so I have 1 teaspoon here. We're going to put in 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Have the soda first. So it's 1 teaspoon of soda and 1/2 teaspoon. I'm just going to approximate 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Okay, we're also going to add to that 2 teaspoons of our pumpkin pie spice. So they have some good flavor to them. I'm going to shake that off there. And one of the things that I think I forgot to mention is we're going to grab some salt as well. Okay, we're just going to put about 1/4 teaspoon. I'm usually just the salt in the hand measure. Okay, about 1/4 teaspoon of salt into the muffins just to kind of balance out the sweetness. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and add our wet ingredients. And I'm going to start with the pumpkin. Okay, we're going to just open that pumpkin. Again, this is canned pureed pumpkin. This isn't the pumpkin pie filling that you can buy in the can. That has some other ingredients in it. We're just looking for the puree, 100% pureed pumpkin. Okay, and for the pumpkin, we are going to add 3/4 of a cup. So let me grab my quarter cup measure. Oh, that's third. Let me grab my quarter cup measure. So I'm gonna put my quarter cup in, set that to the side. Let's grab a spoon to make this a little easier. And I'll fill my half cup measure with some of that pumpkin as well. Okay. Now, the pumpkin comes in quite large cans, and we're obviously not using it all at the same time here. So I often will just take the remainder of that pumpkin and I will put it in a Ziploc bag and I will freeze it in the freezer and I'll pull it out to use it again when I make muffins the next time. So if you want to actually pre-measure it, if you know you're going to make it into this recipe again, you might want to pre-measure 3/4 of a cup and store that in your Ziploc bags so that they're already measured out in your freezer and you can just pull one out and thaw it. So just going to set that to the side while we go ahead and finish off measuring the rest of our ingredients. Going to give that spoon a rinse so that I can add my Greek yogurt. Okay, we're going to use half a cup of Greek yogurt as well. The Greek yogurt adds a little bit more protein, um, and it also adds some more moistness to these muffins. Okay, so now we're going to add about a teaspoon of our vanilla flavoring into that bowl there. I like to just use the cap. And then we're going to add 3 whole eggs into this mixture. Okay. So just go ahead and crack those right on in. 3 whole eggs. So now at this point, I like to go ahead and mix everything up and then I'll add my raisins once it's kind of all mixed. Um, just want to make sure that I don't have any lumps going on in there. Okay, gonna throw these all into the sink and give the counter a quick wipe just to keep my area nice and tidy. Okay, so eggs and yogurt going back into the fridge. Okay, I'm going to grab my hand mixer at this point. I have tried making this all in the blender cup, like blending the oats and then kind of adding everything into that mix. But I find it's actually quite a thick batter once it's done. And it's kind of really hard. You kind of have to keep stopping and scraping the sides down and then mixing again and then trying to scrape the sides down. So if you are better at that and you want to go ahead and mix it all in your blender cup, you're welcome to do that. But I find it's easier to just blend the oats and then add everything to a bowl and grab your hand mixer and just mix things that. Okay, so I'm going to put those uh, beaters in there, and then we're just going to go ahead and mix this up. Okay, so when we're done with this, it should be pretty much like any other muffin batter that you would make. It's about the same consistency. It's kind of a little bit thick. Mm, Everything should be well incorporated. There shouldn't be any lumps. Um, I'm going to give it a mix like that, and then I'm going to grab a spatula and go ahead and scrape the sides down. Okay, that's a little bit of dry ingredients still sticking around on the edges there. Okay, so just a quick, easy to incorporate. Okay, so everything looks well mixed in there. I'm going to go ahead and add um, a quarter cup of raisins. I still have a scoop in here that's already a quarter cup. You're welcome to add more or less, but the calorie count that I will add in the comment section will be using a quarter cup of raisins. Um, just as a heads up there, the calorie count and um, protein amounts might vary slightly from what I suggest, depending on what protein powder you're using, and also how much protein is in your Greek yogurt. So those are kind of the things that are kind of the uncertain. So, but it should be somewhere in the ballpark of what I should. Okay, so I'm just going to mix those raisins in there. Okay, and that's all good to go. I'm gonna throw those beaters into the sink. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and just grab our muffin tin and get these started. Gonna give them a good spray. I do like my silicone muffin pans. I've raved about them before. I do like the silicone ones. They make everything really easy to pop in and out. Nothing really seems to stick too badly, but I do still give them a good spray with the pan. Okay, and this muffin recipe is gonna make 12 muffins. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably use my quarter cup measure there, and start scooping that batter into the muffin tins. We're just going to try to equally distribute it into those muffin tins so that we have approximately the same calorie count. And as you can see, it's quite a thick batter. I haven't had any problem with this overflowing at all. It makes 12 really nicely, and they're good sized muffins, so they feel like they're a good treat. I've actually been enjoying them for in the morning for breakfast with my coffee. Um, and they just feel like a really good home baked. I don't feel like they feel like any sort of sacrifice at all, but they're really good for the macros that work into my diet. Okay, so like I said, this is about our quarter cup measure. Probably going to have a little bit of batter left over that I'll have to divide amongst whatever's left, but we can start with that approximate of a quarter cup into each of those. Okay. Did I mention these freeze really well? I actually keep a container of them in the freezer at my work so I can pull them out and just enjoy them whenever I kind of get the munchies at work and I'm not taking up space. Nobody seems to want to use the freezer. The fridge is often really full at work, but the freezer seems to be pretty empty. So uh, those look to me like they're pretty. I'm going to take a little bit out of that one. That's just a little bit too much. Uh, but those look like they're pretty well distributed into those 12 different cups there. So I am going to throw these into the oven and let them bake. I probably am going to just stop the video there. I'll tell you that they need to bake for between 17 to about 19 minutes. Again, everybody's oven varies a little bit in temperature, and so you're going to have to kind of watch them the first time you make them. You want them to not be gushy. When we kind of like, I like to kind of put my finger in and kind of poke on the top. You don't want it to feel like there's wet. You can take a toothpick and stick it into the middle and test and make sure that it's not battery on the inside. We want them to be well cooked, but I find usually between 17 to 19 minutes is what works best in my oven. And I by no means have a fancy oven. This is pretty basic. In fact, it's not even the best for baking. It's very uneven in temperature. But haven't had any problems with these. So I'm going to go ahead and set that timer for 17 minutes. And then I'll check them at that point and see if they're ready to get out. I like to cool them down before I eat them completely, but I do like to eat them warm. So if you throw them in the freezer and you want to enjoy them, I usually put them in the microwave for about 45 seconds and then they're good and warm and they taste fresh baked. So I hope you enjoy trying this recipe and enjoying, like I said, I will include the nutritional breakdown in the comments of what these muffins end up being, but please enjoy and let me know what you think, how your recipes turn out. But happy eating, everyone.